Now we should be live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Good to see you.
We hope you are joining us for this chat. We'll give you a few minutes to settle down.
So let us know where you're joining us from and how you're doing today. We have just had a wonderful girl chat. We've been laughing. We are joining you on a high energy note.
And also, we have a story to tell, but mostly we're joining you on a high note, even though it's very much a Monday, at least here where I am. But, as I said, Mondays, we've survived all of them at this point. We'll survive this one too, and probably have some fun doing it as well.
Yes, let's turn it into a good Monday evening. I see some people are joining. Hello. Please write to us where you're watching us from. We are also all in different countries, and I'm so proud of us that we are making this project work despite being in Estonia and Spain and Slovenia, in different countries, in different time zones, and for already more than 5 years. No,
I know,
I'm
incredible.
afraid to say how many years. How many years is it already? We are still making it work. Hello, Sabine from Austria. Nice to see you. Hello, Jenny from Switzerland. So cool. International community all united by one big love for dogs. And today I'm extremely lucky because I get to talk about my dog all evening. That's all what we love to do, right? That's something we adore.
Yes.
And I have an appropriate t-shirt for this adventure. I mean, I hope you can see.
I love it.
One of my best friends drew it for me. Like, she actually drew it, and it says "One more piece, please." That's core Heidi identity of loving food and asking to share. So
We've got some more people from Belgium, Wales, Germany.
Wales, Vermont as well. From
hello.
everywhere.
Hello, Susanna. Hello, Christelle, Jill, Anna Maria. So cool to have you all here. Thank you for joining.
So, as everyone is introducing themselves in the comments, maybe we should start by introducing ourselves as well. In case you're new here, we are Lyubov, Leti, and Ena. We're the Smiling Leash team. We are all dog behavior consultants, but one of us is not only that. Leti is also a myotherapist, and you will find out more about what that means and what she does today. Because, as we said before, we have a story to tell. It is the story of Lyubov's dog, Heidi. That was already implied. And it has to do with the body, with movement, with posture, with health, and how dogs' health and their bodies are very much connected also to their behavior. And we really hope that this story, this case study, helps you with your own dogs. If you are seeing any of the similar signs and symptoms that we're going to talk about today. We're also going to show you, not just tell you all about it. And I'd actually like to invite Lyubov to start by giving us the beginning of Heidi's story. And then we will see how Leti helped and what her work is and why it is very, very important for our dogs. So take it away, Lyubov.
Yes, I will say that many of you here, I recognize your names, hello, and you have been students at the Nordic courses where I have been a teacher. And of course, you have heard me talking about my dog and give you pieces and like some points about her. But today we want to bring it all together and give you the full story, because I think finally we are at a point where we understand the roots of her behavior, and now finally it is a complete picture, also thanks to the huge help that I have received from Leti. And we wanted to come together and get kind of both our perspective, me as more like a client in this case, but also with a more aware perspective on the dog behavior. And Leti in this case is the person that our therapist, like our physical and myotherapist, who is helping us. So let me share my screen and see. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
And by the way, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments as we go along, and we will answer the questions either during or at the end of the story. So feel free to ask anything you would like to ask.
Yes, and Ina and Leti, please interrupt me, because right now I can only see the presentation. I do not see you, so just cut me in case you want to pop in or ask a question. Okay, so let's look at Heidi's story. That's how it all started in June 2019, where we have met for the first time with Heidi. She was called at that point Aika, and she lived in a shelter in Bulgaria in the cage number 35 with a friend of hers that we can see here as well. And we have lived at that point in Sofia in Bulgaria, and we lived in the city, and the choice of the dog that me and my partner at the time were doing was not very rational. It was more a choice of the heart. I could see very much as Heidi was moving, as she was presenting, that there was something wrong with her. Like, she looked very compressed and she had one leg moving weirdly. I was at the point at Turit's courses, so I was taking already dog training education, and I had very false confidence that, I know what I'm doing, and no matter what kind of dog I'm getting, I will be able to work it out and achieve a very calm life with that dog, despite the fact that we knew about Heidi's reactivity towards other dogs. We knew about her. I looked at her and I saw already that postural changes that worried me. And we lived in the middle of the town, of a big city, actually, with very, very busy streets and so on. But again, it was not very good and clever choice of the dog. But when she looked at us from that cage, it was done for us. She just stole our hearts. Thank you so much, everybody, for being back. We will continue from the second slide, where we are talking about the point in the story where we have already started to settle with Heidi in our new life together. And you can see on this picture how her body was. And it is very important because we are trying to connect the beats, but in terms of her behavior, it was a very difficult time. It was a difficult time for us and for her, because she wasn't coping at all with the world outside. She was extremely reactive to everybody who was moving, were it people, were it dogs or cats. She was not reactive just maybe to cars, to the vehicles, but everything else was very tough for her. And being quite a big dog, she was about 25 kilos at the time, but quite tall, lunging into our neighbors in quite narrow exit and entrance spaces, it was starting to be a very big stress for me as well. I could only walk her at 5 a.m. or in the middle of the night, and in nature. And this is when we started taking many walks in nature. And I think, thinking back about it, it was a big mistake, because she was not ready physically. Like, she didn't have the muscle. She was extremely thin. And you can see here on the picture how she's standing. And I asked Leti to comment on how she is seeing this picture as a professional.
Yeah. And I was saying that this picture is important to keep in mind for the rest of the presentation, because you can see how her legs are going in and how unsteady she is and how difficult it is for her just to stand, like something that should be so simple and any dog should be able to do. So keep it in your mind.
we will be able to compare how her body was changing over time. And additional interesting things that were happening is that she was constantly hurting herself. It was constantly cutting her wrists or her paw pads, or straining them in some way, twisting them in some way. I was taking care of her wounds almost every single month. There was something new, and thankfully she was very good at letting me treat her wounds, but it was a puzzle for me how she was hurting herself seemingly on just doing nothing. It was very, very peculiar situation. And also, of course, she was anxious all the time, and this face that we can see here with wide open mouth, with wide open eyes, with tense eyes, we will be seeing, unfortunately, for a while. And then something has changed in 2021. Firstly, we have moved away to the countryside, and there were fewer stimuli. There were not as many people walking around, and that has brought a certain relief, but there were still quite a few triggers, such as other dogs behind fences, street dogs. It was not very easy to navigate those walks, but something has brought us a big relief, and that surprisingly was when Heidi has broken a finger. You can see here on the x-ray, here is the fracture, and again, this was one of those injuries that we couldn't really explain. She was just running around in the garden of the house where we lived, and she suddenly then screamed, and then she was limping, and then we found out through an x-ray that she broke a finger. It was one of those peculiar injuries that were happening constantly, and of course, because of this injury, she had to be on quite a long rest. And it was a rest of, I think, several weeks, more than a month for sure. And after that, actually, things started to get better. We were able to enjoy calmer walks. Of course, we were taking lots of walks like this, like you can see in the picture in Bulgaria, in the beautiful mountains of Bulgaria, which I miss very much. In nature with fewer triggers, but still I could see she had a little more mental space in her somehow. And we did manage to make some progress with other dogs. She was then social at the time. Here it was one of my favorite situations where we met shepherd dogs, Bulgarian shepherds, who were with a big flock of sheep and just came to say hi, and Heidi was perfectly able to communicate. And also we were going on social walks with her, and Heidi made friends with some of my client dogs, and actually she was able to raise some youngsters who are now wonderful social dogs. So there was some progress definitely in her behavior, but especially on this picture, Leti, can you see this huge neck that that she has?
Massive change in that. Neck is one of the things that we look at when we have dogs that have difficulties moving.
Right.
We'll talk a bit more about that later.
And that was the end of our time in Bulgaria, sorry. Then we moved in 2022, we moved to Estonia, and it really brought more positive changes, because as you can see on this video, this is about the environment that we can find very easily in Estonia, and this was our typical environment to walk in. There were very few triggers. There is very much very wide space where we can see people approach or dogs approach. It's very easy to spot triggers. If we compare that to very narrow streets in the mountain village in Bulgaria, where like streets are narrow, where constantly there's hills, and it's very hard to see who is approaching you at a distance, and it's very easy to do in this flat landscape in Estonia. So Heidi has made a big progress, I think, just because of the change in space and the amount of triggers that changed. It was much easier for her to enjoy herself, and yeah, she had much better activity levels, I think, as well. Just enjoying her life more in the calm places. And about at the same time, we started also Galin myotherapy, and I want to show you before and after pictures. So this is the before picture of Heidi in Bulgaria, standing and looking at us, and this is Heidi from 2023 in Estonia. You can see a big change. So Leti, do you want to tell us what you can observe?
I mean, many times we concentrate on physical points, and the dog is just telling us with their face, with their expression and with their eyes that they're feeling better. And that's something that we should always consider. I love taking pictures from before and afters, because this is a really good way of tracking progress. It's very difficult for us to remember how the dog was when we're living with them every day. So I think it's important, to keep a diary of things.
It's a very good tip to constantly take pictures. I see now the benefit because it's striking, really. Like, it's the same dog, but it doesn't look like the same dog because her eye expression has changed so much. Like, she looks super concerned on the left, and her face is very tense, and her neck again is massive. Like, she's so big, and even her ear position have changed because ears, of course, are attached to the neck muscles. And I just want to share that we have done Galen myotherapy at the distance. They offer distance support, and we have gotten wonderful guidance. I had contacted, and I have been trying to understand Heidi's posture for a while, and I have received comments from Julia in the past and from Turid in the past seeing Heidi. They both were saying there is something in her back. There is something in her back. It looks like an old trauma or something like this. And with this feedback, I was trying to get Heidi diagnosed at the veterinarians, but we have been doing x-rays, and we have been trying to get feedback also from an osteopath for dogs, but everybody was saying, okay, she's fine, she's walking, she's trotting beautifully, right? Like, she's walking, she's not limping. And the x-rays that we had were only of her hips at the time. And then I was like, okay, so there is no veterinary issue, but can we help her somehow through massage? And then, of course, Galen myotherapy and their guidance have brought massive changes, and we can see other pictures here. Like, one of the big changes for me was the weight, because Heidi was 33 kilos here on this picture, and you can see she's overweight. And then with the massage, I understand that this is metabolism that has changed. Is that right, Leti? That it just started to flow, everything started to flow better.
Also the lymphatic drainage effect that massage brings. I have had many cases where all the families and friends of the family have commented, "Oh, the dog has lost so much weight," but really, it's not weight. Is I mean, it is weight, but it is the slimming or effect of the massage, the lymphatic drainage. It's amazing.
It's water, right? Like when we are puffing in the
fluid,
morning, it's the same,
fluid,
right?
Yeah, liquids that are not draining properly. It's like the body has to get rid of toxins,
right?
And this is the lymphatic system that does that. And the lymphatic system relies on movement because it doesn't have a pump like the circulatory system that has the heart. It relies on muscles and the skeleton moving to move the lymph around. And if that is not happening properly, then the lymph stays stagnant.
Wow. That's super interesting. I'm learning about this in people now, and it's the same often. Like, the extra weight that we are seeing on us is not actually weight, like it's not the fat, but it's this liquid. That's as you say.
We have a question from Helena. What is Galen myotherapy? I think probably Helena's already getting her answer through what you're talking about, but maybe just a very quick explanation of what it was you did, basically, Lyubov. Or Leti, of course.
Well, I can say that Galen is a school in the UK that specializes on myotherapy. Myotherapy is a therapy. Myo is muscle, so it's therapy of the muscles. Okay, so it is massage, but it is also exercises, and
Yes, thank you for asking us. We are so used to talking about it that we don't notice that we are using some terms that we don't necessarily explain. Thank you for asking, Helena. And yes, we did massage and we did some exercises, and that was it. The result have happened after about 6 weeks of this therapy. And also I want to point out on the picture how much more here you can see these puffs of white hair, like hair grows differently and it's very raised, and how these puffs of white hair are less on these pictures, and how much she's more symmetrical, and again her neck is less big, and here we can see how she's able to raise her neck better. Like Heidi is really able to like put her head higher in a way. And again, the eyes expression and the face expression, again, she's very concerned here. She has a lot of tension around the jaw, around the ears, and that's all kind of relaxed. And the other pictures and how her stance has changed as well. She has wider stance than here. She's standing in a more square way. And we can see this in these pictures as well. Her legs, Leti was pointing out that in the beginning she was all wonky and all her legs were very much close to the center. It was still the case. It was a little better, of course, but afterwards you can see how much, like, I don't know, to the side her legs are. I don't know, Leti, maybe you
Square.
can square.
Yeah, she's like standing a square. Like yeah.
Lyubov, these pictures were taken how much time apart? About 6 weeks, you said?
Well, we did the evaluation of Heidi while I was still in Bulgaria. Then we moved. I didn't do anything for half a year, and then like the result, I mean, she was still looking like this, okay? Like there was no changes. Even maybe she even got worse because she had to climb more stairs every day. But the therapy duration after which these pictures were taken was 6 weeks. So I did 6 weeks of therapy, and this is the result that 6 weeks of therapy has given.
Okay. So this was Jenny's question in the comments. That's why I asked.
Good to clarify. And after this, really, her world started to expand. We have seen a big behavior change. She was now fine with people. She wasn't anymore reactive to people. She started to make more friends with dogs. She was less anxious. She was like just ready to take on the world. And so we started taking her more to town, and eventually we moved to live there, to live in town, and she coped wonderfully with all the triggers around her. Honestly, I was never dreaming of being able to live with Heidi in town. If you told me this in 2019, I would look at you with very scared face and say, no, like we cannot manage this. But then here she was, trotting around and sniffing around town and coping wonderfully. So really, I think we could see very quickly how much this body change have transformed also in the behavior change. And then, or somebody is typing and we can hear very loud. Sorry.
That would be me. I'm sorry.
And in March in 2025, this is a few months after we have moved to town, things have started to be worse again. And this is where I start to ask for Leti's help, because I could see some things that were concerning me. And even though, of course, like she's standing, it was still looking much better than we had in the beginning. She still had nice weight. She didn't have the huge neck. She was more or less coping, but I could see that she was starting to settle down much harder. It was harder for her to settle down. We could see this very weird bending of her wrists. When she would lie down, she would almost always bend her wrist like this. When she was standing and sniffing something and putting more weight on the front paw, there was some shaking in the front paws. She sometimes would skip one of the back legs. So like she's walking and then she would skip with one of the legs. I'm sorry, I haven't found the video of this. If you're interested, I can put in the comments later. She had again started to be more reactive to dogs. She was pacing more. So pacing means going in a gait that they move half of the body, like 2 legs at one side and 2 legs at the other side. So front right and front and back right, and then front left and back left, and then kind of switching like this, one side and other side.
We can see that in one of the videos that we already saw. Maybe at the end we can show it again if we have time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think in here the picture of Heidi standing is quite telling, because you can see her feet are pointing out again, and she has one hand in front of the other, so she's not square anymore. She's lost that balance.
Mm-hmm. And I could also see that she was getting tired quicker, and she stopped allowing me to massage her so much. Like, she didn't want me to massage her anymore. And she didn't let me touch her front paws so much. And she was constantly rolling on her back in the snow. Like, it was a bit obsessive at some point. And I asked Leti to evaluate her posture and to give me guidance of what she thought I should do to help her again. And that was what Leti recommended. Do you want to say?
I want to say before we move on to this slide is that the rolling on the snow is or rolling is quite telling. It's one of those signs that we don't think much about, because we think the dog is happy. And there are dogs that even use some objects and toys and things like to massage themselves.
Wow.
So if there are suspicious of problems and you see your dog doing this, then it's something to consider. They could be trying to relieve back pain.
That was so interesting.
Sometimes when I tell people that my dog gets a massage every once in a while, to them it might sound like something very strange. Why would you give a dog a massage? But it's actually very, very natural. Dogs do it to themselves like this, and also to each other. So it's a very natural way of helping our dogs. But of course, we can do more if we have the knowledge like Leti has,
Yeah, and there were also other signs like stretching a lot. Like, every time she would sleep, she would stretch, or lie down, she would stretch. And when you live with a dog day by day, you don't notice this very easy, because your vision is kind of blurred. So it was very good to have Leti sit with me and ask me all the questions and ask me for pictures. I made lots of videos, I made lots of pictures, and get that view from the side, because I myself might see these things in other dogs, but seeing this in my own dog was extremely difficult. And it was amazing to have somebody who could look, but also who could, with whom I felt safe. Like, Leti would never judge me or say like, "Oh, why didn't you do it earlier? Why didn't you go to the vet
Never.
earlier?"
I've
So
been
it was
there
very
myself. Yeah. So some of the things that we looked at was getting some x-rays done. For me, this, from my personal experience, is important to know if there are issues that are, basic to the problem that we are having. With my own dog, we had years and years and years of everybody telling us that there was nothing wrong with her, until we did x-rays and there were malformations there that were the cause of everything that was happening to her. So I asked Lyubov very nicely but very persistently to have this done, especially with a dog that is getting older. At the end of the day, they have the same muscles. We are made of the same stuff, and the things that happen to us happen to dogs as well. They age, and their bones also age, and their muscles also age. So it's important.
Eddie was 9 years old at that point, and when we got her from the shelter, she was 3. So she at that point spent 6 years with me.
So yeah, and then some of the things that I do is, like Lyuba said, that I ask for a lot of pictures and a lot of videos, and I spend a lot of time looking at this and analyzing what I see. And they give me a lot of important information, like treat searches, which would be something really easy. They were really hard for her, especially in certain scenarios, depending on the terrain and the inclination. Walking in the city was far too hard for her. You could see it in the videos as well. And this video that Lyubov mentioned that she couldn't find, it was very interesting when she was skipping on the cement because it was hard for her. So we looked at all of these, and we had a really long session together looking at this, both of us, and analyzing. I mean, it's really nice to do it with somebody that is also a colleague, because we can talk about the behavior and what is happening. Lyubov has done a lot of training in massage before we had our session, so it was easier for me to explain some things. We went for shorter walks. I explained to her some massage techniques that they could help her and Heidi, and some specific exercises for her. That was the plan that we made.
Yeah. It was very good plan, and it was very doable because it was not all together. There was no kind of pressure on me to do it all at once on Heidi. And the first thing we did, because Leti raised this sense of urgency for the X-rays, I went to a clinic in Tallinn with Heidi, and I was supported by my amazing colleague Elena there. We both went, and finally, I found a place where my concerns were taken seriously, and behavior concerns as well. And finally, the veterinarian didn't say, "Oh, she's walking, so she's fine." She said, "Yes, I can see your concerns. I can see what you mean." And she was the first veterinarian who decided to do an X-ray of her back, because before that, they were only doing X-rays of her hips. Even very trained orthopedic veterinarians, they only did X-rays of her hips. And actually, we managed to finally find the problem, and it was in her back. And thankfully, they did the X-ray of her back. And here I zoomed a little bit. I don't know, Leti, maybe you can explain a little better what you're seeing and why it is such a big problem.
I'm not going to explain about X-rays because I'm not a vet, and it's not my field. But I can say that what Heidi has is what my dog had, spondylosis, which is when the vertebrae start growing extra bone material, and it's really painful, and it's extremely hard for the dog, and it gets worse with age. It gets worse and worse. So it was really good that she went to the vet and this was diagnosed, because she must have been in quite a bit of pain.
Yes, and our amazing doctor, I will say her name because she's awesome, Dr. Linda Tammekivi from Erivet in Tallinn. She has said that so Heidi has additional vertebra in her lower back, and this is something which I didn't know, but the doctor told me that dogs with short tail have, and Heidi has this short tail genetically. It's not cut, it's how she was born. It's a genetic mutation. So apparently dogs with short tails can often have additional mutation with additional vertebrae in the lower back. And here apparently compression was created, so like vertebrae would press on each other because of this, and this has brought the spondylosis. And it was not just in her lower back, as you can see here, very, very white spots. This is where the change to the bone tissue has occurred, but also here at this in this area of her chest. And this must have been going on for years and have given her extreme pain, because this is not now just muscle pain. No, this is neurological pain that's affecting her spine. And we were given a treatment, a plan for medication, for anti-pain medication, which was specifically directed at the neurological pain. And that was really great support from the vet team. I really loved my experience there, and Heidi was treated with so much respect. And also then Leti came in and gave us additional tips, and we started to do this lump treatment. You can see Heidi here, she was really into it very quickly. Like she was using the lump herself and putting it in the way that she wanted. And very often, as in this picture, she is treating her lower back, and on this picture she is treating her neck. And these were the two spots that still are the two spots that she's choosing to treat the most with this lump. And we did some exercises, as you can see, very happy about the suggestion to do the exercises here. And we did some massages as well. And honestly, Leti gave us very good tips about massages because she said, she gave us some little tips how to make the process much gentler on her. And that was a game changer, honestly. And of course, we don't want to give the specific tips because it can be very different for each dog, so we don't want to give any specific advice or specific exercises or massage techniques, because everything is thought out for your specific dog in this case. And it was just wonderful to be supported day by day by Leti. Also, every day she would ask how we are doing and give us specific feedback on the pictures, on the videos that I sent. It was really, really good. And here we were 1 month later with painkillers, with the massage that was changed, and with the exercise and with the lump. So here we have some changes.
Well, we can see the changes definitely on the posture. She's back much straighter and square. Also on the neck area, I think you can tell that although she's looking at us, it's a lot smaller. It's reduced a lot. And maybe this neck, I can explain a little bit about the neck and why it gets so big. If you think about the dog and how movement starts, like the motor of the dog is the back legs. This is where all the movement starts, and it gets used by the muscles, or transported by the muscles to the front legs along the spine. And then the front legs move. But if you have a problem in the back legs, the dog starts just pulling from the front legs all the time because he can use the back legs so much. And then this area starts growing because it's overused, like the shoulders, the neck starts growing because they are using that to propel themselves.
This is something that maybe us as humans, we could imagine that if we have one leg, for example, my left knee is in trouble. So in order to kind of alleviate the pain, I will be using my right leg more. And in time, I will also start developing problems in my right leg. And with dogs, it's often the front and the back. And this is quite a common scenario. Something's wrong in the back. You can see the dog using the front more, and you can see changes in the front. Is that right, Leti?
Yeah, it is. It's compensation. And the dog adapts to the new situation that she has and uses what she can. And what she can use better is the front. So,
but that also presents problems of its own. Of course, it's not a solution. It's more the best that the body can do by itself right now.
No. And I remember Julia saying once that a dog that has a bad back always has a sore neck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was the case for sure. I love this picture also, the before and after.
yeah, you can really tell the size of, the volume really of her neck is so much smaller, and that area at the back, maybe you can show that is also less prominent in the hair. And at the very back, just where the tail starts, this area, I don't know if people can tell, but there is an addition there. This is where the skin and the fascia underneath gets stuck, and it doesn't move very well. You can tell in dogs that you try to move the skin, and there are areas where are really stuck to the body, and you can lift them. And that's what myofascial techniques try to release, to get those areas moving better, so the dog moves better as well. And although it's still happening on the right hand side, you can tell that it is better. Definitely.
It is not stuck so much. Like here we can see this triangle very, very visibly. And here this triangle is much less visible. Her hair is not so flat on this spot. And we can see much more of her tail also. It's, really interesting. And here as well, with the neck is very visible, right?
Yeah, definitely. Very, and the well, the expression I think is changed as well in these pictures, and there is not so much tension in the forehead. I don't know if you can tell. That
Yeah,
she's
there
got
is
a more
this.
relaxed face.
Yeah, this triangle is super visible here and is less it's less dark
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And this bending of the wrist has gone.
Yeah.
I realized that together with Heidi, I'm showing all the mess that I have in my flat. Please, please forgive. And the most striking thing that Leti has found was the eyes.
Yeah, looking back at all the pictures, because these comparisons are between March when we started and May. We did the comparison
End
of
of
the pictures.
March and start of May, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was about a month.
And looking back at all the pictures and doing the comparison, and realized that her eyes, her pupils were dilated in all the pictures in the first pictures of March,
Yeah,
and
they
they
were.
weren't. I mean, I don't know if you know, but pupils get dilated sometimes with stress. It is a stress response. So we can think that the pain was causing some stress. That's for sure. You know,
Yeah.
when you're feeling well, you get stressed.
And behaviorally, things have really developed amazingly. So she was settling in much better. There was no this bending of the wrists anymore. She was like, I was describing her to Leti and using the term happy horse because it was true. Like, it's like she got, her childhood self back. She was running around and jumping and more active, and especially kind of the first days that she was discovering her new feeling in the body, it was so beautiful to see. She was just joyful. And I also noticed that there was more headspace in her, like she was responding to me much better. For example, suddenly she decided she has a recall cue. She can come back to me now. Even if there is a dog barking at her in some distance and she's off leash, she can actually listen to me and come back. And she was way less reactive. So here is a picture from a session with a client that I had, and she was again able to kind of be this assistant dog in a way. And we visited this beach. It was very random, very quick idea, and suddenly there were lots of people, and some of these people were sitting with dogs, and she coped wonderfully with that. Like, she enjoyed herself. She went in the water, she communicated with these people, and with my wonderful colleague Brit here, who is probably listening. Hi. And she enjoyed the massage a lot. And you can see how she was looking on walks. Like, look at how much straight her back is. Look at this square, beautifully aligned legs. Look at the tail popping out. Look at this relaxed neck. I mean, really, just a different dog from what we got from the shelter. And yes, that was about Heidi. And this, we want to give you some practical tips which we have which I have gotten to know very, very useful. So as Leti said in the beginning, it's very good that you take videos and pictures of your dog regularly, especially the pictures that, as you have seen on Heidi, from the side, from the front, from the top. It's very useful to have them. And it's very nice if you keep a diary as well, like of how your dog is feeling, maybe some interesting hidden signs of pain. Some of them we have listed here. Maybe Let you want to go through them.
Yeah, I mean, excessive stretching. You mentioned it before. I mean, there is. I mean, it happens to us, no? If we get up in the morning and we're feeling a little bit sore, sometimes we stretch a little bit more than we might have done on a normal day if we've done a lot the day before. But this excessive stretching is when the dog does it all the time. You know, they get up in the morning, they stretch. They go down the stairs, they stretch. They go up the stairs, they stretch. They do a little walk and they stretch because they need it. That's why they're doing it. So I don't want you to get confused with, like getting up and stretching. That is normal. and excessive stretching, which is not.
Leti,
yeah.
can I just ask very quickly, can it also be the other way around, so that they do not stretch at all, or
I mean,
much less than they used to?
Yeah, that could also be a sign, definitely.
Mhm.
I mean, observing means observing changes. And as we know, each dog is an individual. So if you're having a dog that used to move a lot more and then now is not, not able to, definitely a sign. Yeah.
I'm asking because I know a couple of dogs that, for example, that we know are in some kind of pain, and you can notice for some that they are stretching more, but there's one dog in particular that stops stretching the back part of the body. He still stretches the front, but not the back when his pain is worse, for
Yeah.
example.
And this happens with shaking as well, which is another point in here. Dogs should be able to shake in a rolling motion from their head to their tail, and some dogs stop at some point because there is pain there. Some other dogs stop and then continue, and this is something to look for as well. Yes. Posture, like we've been seeing, like the dog is struggling to stand square, maybe feet pointing out or inwards as well. This, each dog is can do it depending on what they're suffering from. Hair disturbance, and Lyuba pointed that out in some of the pictures. This is something that is quite telling as well, especially if it's something that suddenly happens. Your dog has had flat hair all of the time and suddenly there are raised patches. And they are due of everything that's happening underneath the skin layer and that myofascial layer. Scratching and biting. Sometimes dogs just go suddenly to one side of their body and start biting there, and this could be a sign of pain.
And doing it regularly, especially at the same spots.
Yeah, definitely. Difficulties while toileting, because imagine a dog that is having back leg problems, and dogs use gravity to do their pooping and weeing, and that is not possible because they can't load all that weight on those legs. And muscle spasms as well. I mean, this is not an extensive, a complete list. There are more things, but the things that are quite telling, that are quite easy to see.
Can I add a couple of things? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to jump in because we have a question, but yeah, go ahead and add, and then we'll just answer that question too.
I was going to say about toileting that we see some dogs who really struggle and they turn, for example, but we also see some other signs related to toileting. For example, for Heidi, she would always kind of produce, and then she would jump out and run, like quickly run, or stretch a lot, or scratch a lot on the ground, like violently scratch a lot, like always, not just in certain places where she wants to leave the smell. But I also feel like this is connected to the discomfort or what she has just felt. And I don't know if you want to see a video of a muscle spasm, which I recorded on Heidi. I have it. Very in easy access, so I can show. Just one sec. I should have thought about it earlier, but now you people please bear with me. Okay, here we go. Just let me know if you can see.
Yeah, we can see your folder with lots of videos.
Yes, and now here this is the spasm. This was, look at her back here. Again, I don't know, maybe you couldn't catch. Now, did you see?
Yeah.
Here
There's
it
a
goes.
shaking.
Yeah, that's how it can look like.
So Lyuba, Jenny was asking about the chain of events. So when you moved back again from the countryside to the city, it got first worse again, and then you did the X-ray. Do you think it had a lot to do with the fact that you moved, or was that just an interference in the story?
To be honest, I think it was coming to it before that, right? Like she was living in a house before we moved with a lot of stairs, and the winters, I noticed always every winter would bring a negative change very quickly. Because in the winter, even though she has so much hair, I think she was still having tenser muscles for a few months. Like winter in Estonia is about 5-6 months. So she would get tenser, and then after every winter it was getting worse. And then we moved to the city where she started to move more, because now we don't have a yard where she goes and she toilets. And again, it was winter, and there was harder ground. So I think definitely because we moved to town, it has worsened, but not just because of that, because of like time was passing. She was 9 years old, it was winter again, and like everything just kind of collided. And then yes, after we did the x-rays, we did the proper treatment of her pain, everything just went back to normal. We're still living in town, still same conditions, following Leti's recommendations, doing the therapies, and it got much better.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, it's usually a combination of factors. It's with dogs, it is rarely simple,
Right.
unfortunately. But that's why we're here, because with dogs, it's rarely simple, and also because, just like you said, I agree completely. Sometimes you need someone else to look at your dog.
Almost always, right?
We all have a filter when it comes to our dogs, and we see them every day. We get used to things and we're not aware of them. So it helps a lot to do these things that Lyubov suggested. So take pictures, take videos, write things down, but also to have someone else look at your dog, even if you work with dogs. We
And
all
this
do,
someone
and
else can be us,
yeah. Go
Uh,
ahead, yeah.
we have a service now that we want to integrate this mind and body connection for our clients as well. We do online consultations, and we integrate the observations of the body with latest knowledge and experience, and the behavioral part as well, which we think is inseparable. Like in most dogs, there is some discomfort, or just it's good to know about it to keep the body healthy in many years to come. And about now we know from studies that about 80% of behavior cases are related to pain, in hidden pain. So it's very important for us to keep this connection together. And we do this through deep observations of your videos. Even though we work on distance, we ask you to make many photos and videos for us, and we give recommendations on what gear to use, what equipment to use, what maybe additional treatments to use, and how to talk with the vets, like what exact things to tell them to pay attention to when you come and visit. It was so much better for me to know exactly the kind of, I had pictures that Leti made me make, and I had her comments on what is wrong, and I was bringing all of this to the vet, and I sent this in advance as a big email. And she was very kind of, it was easy vet visit because she was already getting all the information. And also we have been working in this field now for a few years, and we know for many years now, we know kind of who to send you to in case you live somewhere where other professionals are available to help you in person. We have a big network of professionals who we know, and it's possible for us to engage someone else if we feel that more deep work is necessary. Ina, maybe you can show on the website also how to contact us.
Sure, or you can just share your screen and
I can.
you can go to smilinglish.com, and you will find all the information if you click on consultations, all the basic things on how to contact us about behavior, and also now about body, so about the things that Leti does. Here you can read more about our consultations, and you can also contact us through the online form, or via email or private message, whichever way you find comfortable.
Yep. I will put this link also like this. You can see.
So if anyone has any more questions, we will be happy to answer one or two more before we wrap this up. Or if you have questions later, we're happy to answer them in the comments or via message, via email, and so on. I have a question myself because I was thinking about it. I have a story with my own dog, and more than one, connecting health and behavior. But you said, Lyubov, in the beginning how you had all this confidence that since you were someone who is learning about behavior and works with behavior, that you will be able to help your dog. And I'm sure that there were things that you could help Heidi with, and that you saw some changes in her behavior after she came from the shelter and she settled in with you. But then there were also things that you just felt like weren't changing, that you couldn't shift, like you were hitting a plateau of some sort. Is that how it was for you?
Yes, thank you for bringing it up. I think we concentrated so much on her body here, but of course also we were doing a lot of the behavior work in the way, like in the ethical way we know how. For example, parallel walks with humans have brought a lot of help and, made it much easier for her. And she was having new people friends, like she was forming relationships, and we were doing parallel walks with other dogs as well, and we were doing enriched environments for her. I think it all was helpful, but we were hitting constantly a kind of a ceiling, where we just could not break. I don't know why, but interestingly, I think after she has gotten the right treatment, all these things just came back. Right now she knows the recall cue, which we worked on for years. Now suddenly she responds to it, right? Like she's able to observe and make very wise decisions. She's very curious. Her body balance is very good. She's very social. She's able to help other dogs. I think I cannot say that, oh, like it was all in vain. It was not all in vain. It was still, put in her brain somewhere. It was just still not enough, because the reason for her behavior was strong pain, and once that got treated, she just bloomed into this amazing flower dog that I have right now, and I'm enjoying every walk with. I don't know, it's such a beautiful transformation, honestly.
I feel like that happens very often. You hit a wall or a ceiling, as you said. I've seen this with my own dogs and with other dogs, and very often there's something to do with health and with pain. And it's very surprising to most people how many dogs are in pain and how well they hide it unless you know what you're looking for.
Yep.
So as much as it's difficult to think that our dogs might be in pain, it's often the case.
Yep, absolutely. And if you want to just make sure, if you if you're not suspecting something, if you want to just make sure, we can be that safe space for you also to check if everything's fine, just to go through your routines and through the pictures and so on. It doesn't have to be an issue that you're dealing with to come to us, because it's their health for the many years to come, right? It's not stuck in time. And if you want to make sure your dog is aging in a healthy way, it's great. We can help with that.
There was a comment from Mona saying that Teddy's receiving laser and acupuncture treatment. And this conversation that we've been having is interesting to hear about. But I would say that laser, I did laser with my dog, and it helped a lot with pain. So there's a lot of treatments that are out there that can help dogs, and acupuncture, as far as I know, is helping a lot of dogs as well.
Yeah, very true.
It's just that with these cases where there is pain, many times you have to work in what we call multimodal way. You have to have many therapies that you can rely on and that you can use in certain days or points where things are worse or whatever, and all of them are going to help your dog.
Yep. And yeah, sometimes whatever is available we take, right? I know where Mona lives, and I know that they have amazing professionals available there, but I don't have them here where I live, right? So, and many people don't. So it's very important to also be able to get distance support, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm so happy to see many names I know. And yeah, it's nice to kind of reunite again for a chat. Thank you all so much for being here and for asking questions. It was I felt in a safe space to share my story with you because it was not an easy one. Thank you all so much. Thank you,
Thank
Jenny.
you.
Thanks, everyone. If you want to hear more from us, if you want more lives, if you maybe have a suggestion for a topic, we will be very happy to hear about it.
Yes.
So let us know what you want us to talk about.
Thank you. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.